Okay, I've got a JPEG copy of one of the images of the woman, and I'm just going to look at a couple of points for correcting this image. So I can start zooming in. Oh, maybe too much, but let's just come back out of there, and we can see the seam down here is puckered. It's not particularly nice. These aren't bad actually, these kind of ruffles, but we have some lines there going down in this material. So what essentially we want to do is potentially take the clone stamp tool. I'm on 100% opacity here. Change the size of the brush as we're doing this, and also change the point from which we sample from. So alt click samples from this area, and then there, alt click there. So, and again, so I'm just looking at ways in which we can smooth out some of that detail. Obviously I need to take a lot more time over that. If I go here, let's just zoom in. We can see a mark there. Make the brush a bit smaller for this one. Obviously the brush is feathered, so it would go over the edge, so just be careful. Alt click there, clone to there, and again here. Alt click to sample from this point, just a little bit above. Okay, there's a bit of a mark there. So it's a little bit time consuming. This is pretty terrible, so there's not really much we can do about that. Ideally a stylist or a decent dressmaker would have fixed this. I recommend undoing it, unpick it, redo it, end of. So that's the idea. Just again, you see this mark here, make this brush bigger, click, sample from there. Don't like that, I'm going to go above, click, and down. Again, above, down, above, 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 above. So just sampling from different areas. That gets us these marks, which is a bit of a problem, but we could refine that with the healing brush tool, and again we alt click a point, alt click a point, so that leaving it out slightly. Okay, so that's the general idea, but as per usual, I've started on this layer, which is the background, and what should I have done? Dave, Command J, duplicate it, and then start working on that layer, or make a new layer, call this clone, and you'll see I can have current layer, current and below. So obviously there's nothing on the current layer, but I want to take the current layer and the one beneath it. So zooming back in, let's just look at something here. So there's a blemish there, yeah, or a spot. So just because we can see this, alt click here to sample from there, and then on there. So this has been applied to the clone layer and not the background, and we haven't duplicated the background, so we just made a layer whereby we sample that and sample that. Fantastic. So back to the dress, and then the healing brush tool. Yeah, maybe we could put a number of eyes on the dress, but that's not what we're doing. Alt click, sampling from there, alt click, and again this tool won't always work perfectly. This will copy some of the texture and the tone across as well, but it samples from around the area, so it can get a little bit confused as to what to take and what to bring in. So sometimes if you get too near to something else like this, it will create just more of a messy blur on your work. So the clone stamp tool, quite simply is just looking at areas that are close to. Right, so let's just zoom back a little bit, and then we obviously turn this off and on just to check. So I mean, you know, we're rushing here, but that's better already, and we can tidy this up. So that is the first part. Cool.